Sup YouTube, UAV Mark here with a review of the V686G by wltoys. Yeah, There's also a black version which is made by JJRC. Seems to be exactly the same, just with a carbon fibre black paint job on. It's not real carbon fibre. But this is the white version. Went for this because I saw that the plastic was see-through and the lights actually are pretty epic on it, and the lights do shine. The light does shine through the body as well. Flying this at night is probably one of the brightest quadcopters I've got now. The LEDs on this are super bright at night. Yeah. Awesome LEDs on it. Okay, your pitch really good on this. It's pretty fast. The FPV works on it pretty well. Quality is pretty good. The camera quality is okay. It's pretty stable. I pretty much like it. Plus sides, obviously I've modded it a bit, but I'll go through the mods that I've done. Suffice to say, it's exactly the same size as a Skylark, other quadcopters of its size. I thought for some reason I thought it was bigger than this, but it's pretty small. It's the same sort of size as the Skylark and any quadcopters of that size. Build quality is pretty good. Plastic on it feels pretty good. Yeah, the mods I've made to it. What the hell's going on there? The mods I've made to it are carbon fibre sticker, circle, triangle. The front door to the battery basically had holes in it everywhere. Slits. The top, holes everywhere. I did find when I was flying it that it tends to catch the wind, so the wind gets inside it and it affects the way it flies. Because of all the holes, it's basically like a balloon. It just catches all the wind, and every now and again it will do something funky. So what I did was put tape on the inside of the door and lacquer that to stop the holes there at the front so it doesn't fill up with air. Similarly, with all the holes on the top, I don't know if you can see it, I put clear tape. It's a bit of clear sellotape or any tape you've got. As long as it's clear, you can't see it really. Just put it over the top to cover the holes, and that stops the air rushing in and affecting the quadcopter so much in flight. So yeah. The other mod I've done was the skids. Now, I got these plastic skids off the prop guards. Came with 4 prop guards, and the bit across the top of the prop guard is that. So basically, I just cut that off the 3-pronged prop guard part that was going across, which is that. Cut that off. Bent it round, warmed it up with a hairdryer to make it stop springing out, to stop forcing that out. Glued it in. Basically what that does now, because I did find with this quad, every other landing is coming in at that sort of angle, and it tends to just stick up, or stick like that. Not so bad at the sides, because it tends to fall over. But every other flight, I was basically going to the quadcopter and re-leveling it, because every time I was landed, it just kept on tipping forward and staying, or tipping back. It was very tippy on landing, and it kept on just. It was doing my head in so much that I thought I've got to find a solution to stop this. So yeah, with this now, with the skids going round now, it bounces and re-levels. That's not much extra weight, but pretty good modification there for the landing, so that helps the landing a lot. Also, I will say return to home function and what was the other one? Headless mode. Now I don't know whether it's me, but my headless mode beeps when you hold it. Not a problem. Just doesn't do anything. My headless mode doesn't work, so I don't know whether that's a fallacy or whatever, but my headless mode, tried it many times. The transmitter will bleep, but the quadcopter does not go into headless mode. So I don't know what that's about. Return to home mode. Yeah, I would advise everybody not to use return to home mode. It does return to home extremely fast, and it just hits the deck extremely fast. It doesn't land itself, it just flies itself into the ground somewhere in your vicinity. I've used it a few times, and basically the quadcopter just headed for me, flew straight past me and flew into the ground at a rate of knots. I did break some of the landing gear, but they're pretty easy to glue back up. To be fair, glued it back up, not a problem. But yeah, I would advise not using return to home unless you want to try and catch a quadcopter, because it doesn't land itself. It just returns to home extremely fast and hits the deck at that sort of angle really fast. I'm like, you switch it on, it just goes boom, heads towards you, flies straight past you if you don't catch it, and flies into the ground. So return to home, no. Return to somewhere near you and fly into the ground, yes. What else can I say? Yeah, another great reason I like this is the battery compartment. Now, it came with stock battery. I did find if you cut the inside of the battery guards that holds the battery in the first one, I can now fit in a fatter battery, which will go in, that I flew with, and even a stick battery goes in there, which I've flown with. So I've flown with 3 different shapes of battery now. And I'm sure there's a bigger battery again that I could fit in there, plenty of space in that battery compartment. Pretty good for fitting different types of batteries in, lots of space in that compartment. Now as it says, I've cut the first plastic strut, and 3 totally different sized batteries all fit in there, and I've flown with all of them. I will say that I sort of prefer it with the lighter batteries than the stock battery. I've flown it with the 650 milliamp and the 550 milliamp, and it flies just as long. It's a bit lighter and it flies a bit better in my opinion with a lighter battery. So you might want to try your lighter batteries with it. Anyhow, I've got plenty of batteries to play with it because I can fit almost any size battery in. As I says, I haven't got any bigger batteries than the stock one, so I've been messing with smaller batteries, and it works pretty well with smaller batteries. I will say be careful with what batteries you try. Make sure that you don't put in, I nearly put in a 7.4 volt battery. Yeah, you'll just blow your circuit board if you try a 7.4. Make sure any batteries you try are 3.7 volt or you'll blow your board. What else can I say? Flips. There is a problem with this with altitude. With flips it loses altitude quite a lot, and when you're coming down from height it tends to want to go to ground. Other major problem, some quadcopters are like that. It's quite a sporty flyer. It flies pretty similar to the Skylark. Great pitch, great yaw, but because it's on the heavier side, it's got camera legs and it's wider plastic, it's a bit heavier than the Skylark. And what it does suffer from is if you mess about with it at low altitude, if you come down fast and you try and stop it close to the ground, it does go further than you would want it to. So it does suffer from liking to go to ground. Not a major problem really, but it's something to be aware of with this quadcopter. It's one of this quadcopter's characteristics where it wants to go to ground. I found you just as long as you once you get used to it and you know what it's like, not a problem. As I says, I've had this flying really high, really far, with the FPV system working pretty well. Not much of a cutout. Another weird thing I will say, when you first plug the battery in, that camera light should come on. Every now and again I plug the battery in and the camera doesn't come on. For whatever reason, unplug the battery, plug it back in, camera doesn't come on, unplug the battery, plug it back in, camera comes on. So every now and again the board doesn't recognise that the camera's plugged in. So you have to unplug the battery, plug it back in until it recognises it. So, yeah. What else? The FPV screen goes black every now and again for about a second or two, then comes back. I've been flying with this all over the place, flew down the park, and say once every 4 minutes that screen goes black for about 1-2 seconds, then comes back and works as normal. So every now and again the screen blacks out, but it does come back straight away. So I don't know what that's about, just saying that not a big problem, it works, but a little bit temperamental on the signal or whatever, but it works fine. The quality is really good. I will put on add on some flight footage with the FPV, and I'll go on to a little flight footage in the kitchen. I've got another video with night flights and me flying the FPV as well, so I won't do much flying. What will I say? Would I recommend this? Yeah, it would, to be fair. I thought it was going to be a lot bigger than it was. I do like the camera, I like the FPV, I like the controller, I like the fact it's got great pitch, really good pitch, really fast yaw. I think the only downside is when it lands, it wants to tip over all the time. So the mod with the prop guards is a good addition to that. And also with the batteries, fitting any type of batteries in there, which is cool. Cover the holes to stop the wind getting in it, and it will fly a lot better. And yeah, recommend. Really good, fun V686G quadcopter from wltoys. Onto a quick flight, I'll add that on, and see you later, guys. Okay, bye. Quick kitchen flight. One thing I forgot to add was another modification I made was to the feet. Just added little bits of rubber. There is like a space for it. Didn't have any rubber feet, but I've added rubber feet. Okay, on to a quick kitchen flight. Not really going to go on about the FPV so much, just going to show you how she flies. Obviously similar protocol to the wltoys, but it doesn't bind with my, shut up Missy, it doesn't bind with Skylark controller or anything like that, so it's not a true wltoys protocol, even though the controller is pretty similar and it flies pretty similar to the Skylark. Anyway, I will say that the yaw rate stays the same all the way through the rates, but it's a fast yaw rate, so I'm not bothered. I'll go on to 100% rates just to show you the yaw and the pitch. So the pitch on this is really good. Pretty reactive. It's a pretty noisy quadcopter compared to some, but it's not a horrible noise. It's a nice noise, but it's a loud noise. So pitch on this is really good. Love the pitch on this. Pretty sporty pitch. It's pretty fast. Flight time average. Not the best for flight time. Not the worst. But yeah. So it's because of the extra weight. Yaw rate, pretty good. Can do pretty nice funnels with this, as you can see. So as a flyer, I do like it. It does a brain fart every now and again. It does something weird. Well, I think that was because of the holes and it catching the air. Now I've covered most of the holes in, it doesn't react weird anymore so much. As you can see, it's really fast, really pitchy, great yaw speed. As a flyer, I do like it a lot. So they haven't forgot that this is a flyer machine. As I said, the LEDs are good, camera's good, FPV's good, the way it flies is good. Only downside is when it lands it wants to tip over, but with my mod that has solved that problem, as I will show you. When you land there, right, if I did that without the skids on, it would have stayed tipped. Right. So with the skids on, it lands fine. So I would advise doing my skid mod to the landing gear. It does keep it, it will stop you from going to pick it and right the quadcopter every 5 minutes when you land. So yeah, good mod. One of my better mods. Covering the holes in. Yeah. But pretty stable. Does tend to drift a little bit, but not that much. I have flown this true FPV in a different room and it worked well. So it works in, you can fly it in a different room, not looking at it, which I did do. Didn't fly it for long, it was pretty hard to do, but it does work. FPV angle's pretty good, quality is pretty good. But there's no jello on it whatsoever. Pretty impressed with the quality. Like the fact it's so small and you can probably take it anywhere. And I do like the way it flies a lot. But as I said, it does tend to want to go to ground. But it's not a big problem. Just have to manage it. If I throttle off, it's hard to recover a bit. You can tell it wants to go further down than you want it to. Does that thing. But as I said, it's not a problem. Just something to be in mind. Just one of its foibles. Just its character as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, got a lot of character this one. But the main points on it, the important stuff, works well, flies well. LEDs are super bright on it. So everything, I like everything about it. Can be a bit temperamental with the camera. But other than that, no problems. With flips, I won't do a flip indoors because I'll flip and it'll just drop altitude like that. Drops a lot of altitude on flips, so advise doing flips outside because you'll hit the floor. It'll just go like that. I know it's going to go like that. So shall I try one? See if I can do a flip without hitting the deck or hitting anything. Flips are quite hard. Yeah, done a flip, but as you see, it wants to go to ground, so you have to throttle up on flips. But yeah, just remember it wants to go to ground and you have to throttle up to keep it level. But other than that, pretty cool. Anyway, that's my flight and my review out. V686G, as my cat's trying to escape through the back door. Pretty cool, pretty nice, recommend it. Size, price, build quality with my mods, like it a lot. Anyway, that's me out. See you later guys.